So
Yeah.
we'll get to that. And I wanted to get into your competitive swimming because I know some of your story, and I don't want to overlook that piece of
Yeah,
it because
sure.
I'm sure that plays a huge role into adult life, right? Different careers and different jobs. Talk to me about the recruiting process. Talk to me about what you did, where you went
Yeah.
after school, during school.
Yeah, for sure. So my schedule, I mean, starting like, I mean, we had junior high, so I was like in a seventh, eighth, ninth, but I think by seventh grade, I was doing morning and afternoon practices. And most of that was water time, but sometimes I was like lifting in the morning and I had to go to like a Gold's gym with like these big bodybuilders. And I'm like, this tiny little seventh grader walking in like, okay, I'll deadlift next to you. But it was fun. So the thing is, like in a sport like swimming, so I had some success like when I would say like a 12 and under, when you're in this like age group bracket. And it's obviously a time sport. So if you qualify at certain meets, like, I think more eyeballs are on you.
Sure.
And so by the time I got to like middle school, I was kind of slated in this like US swimming, like the eyeballs were on me for select camps and things like that. So before, I guess it was like before the recruiting process. So maybe like towards the end of junior high, I got to go out to the Olympic Training Center and, with girls in my age bracket, like top performers around the country. And we had like a week-long training session together, which was incredible. I mean, some of those girls were like, we were tight all through college and we all went to
Yeah.
different schools, but like it kind of took you from a feeling of like, you're this big fish in a small pond every day in your practice sometimes. But then I was like, oh, this is like the new pond. Like this is, if I want to be in this pond, like this is what it's going to look like,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is humbling because, it's like, you're like, you go from feeling like, oh, I'm really awesome at this to
Yeah.
pretty average at an awesome level. Right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a milestone thing for me growing up. But like, I knew, I mean, my dad, I mean, this is going to sound hilarious, but I remember we had like the video recorders, like those huge camera things. And my dad,
Yeah.
totally, like this, my dad would interview us and we had I guess he did it at like holiday times and he would ask us like, Kim, what's your short-term goal? What's your long-term goal? And I was like, it was like a normal thing that we talked about. And for
Right.
swimming, I think it was really normal because, we had seasons and you usually set like a goal for yourself and then, back it out. Like, how am I going to do that?
Right.
Which I think was just an awesome thing to learn at a young age. But I remember I was probably like in sixth or seventh grade and I said, my short-term goal was to like win events at our state championship. And I grew up in Texas, so it was a fast state for swimming. And then I said, I want to swim in college. And so I don't know, it's like you start saying it, you start thinking it. As I progressed, Olympics kind of like crept in, like, is this possible? Could I make the US Olympic team? And it definitely was something that I started going after. So I did go to Olympic trials. It fell in the sophomore year of my collegiate experience. By the time I got there, I was not going to be making the Olympics, but I can like laugh and share this now and feel very proud of the accomplishment. I think for a long time I kind of like fell into this hole of like being disappointed about the outcome and couldn't
Sure.
really see the achievement in it, and which is silly. But I think there is something to be said, like you do when you don't achieve something that you're going after, like there is a bit of a mourning period of that.
Yeah.
So I've moved through that and I'm good. But yeah, I did go to trials and 2 events and I wasn't really sure if that was going to be the end of my swimming career. Candidly, it was a big pivotal moment for me. So I was halfway through college. I did not perform at NCAAs the way I wanted to or at trials. And I just thought, what am I doing? And
Sure.
it was one of those moments, like we all have these moments where it's like you're at a crossroad. And so I grew up in Dallas, but I went to Michigan for school. And so I had one friend from high school that was at U of M. And I was like, are you driving home to Dallas? Because I want to jump in your car. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm leaving on this date, whatever. And I think I didn't even say anything to him until we got to Nashville, which is like halfway, because I was just like really lost. I mean, I was just
Yeah.
kind of trying to figure things out. Obviously, we talked and had some beers and like got a little bit of life back to the rest of our drive.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when I went home, I realized I needed to find the fun in the sport again. I think I was taking on maybe what other people wanted for me in the sport. Kim, you can make the Olympics, you can do this, like almost taking other people's goals for me and absorbing them myself. Yeah, it would have been amazing to swim on the US Olympic team. But I did have experience with the US team. I did
Yeah.
qualify for a team, going into college. And so it's not like that. It's not so finite. It's not that like end all be all. And so, but
Right.
I had some healing to do. I mean, I really had to regroup. I really had to kind of reset goals, and figure out what I wanted to do. And so I went back and I was training in Dallas, and I told my club coach that was like a dad to me. I was like, I can't train with you because I need to be with college kids. Like, I just can't be racing 14-year-olds when I come in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went, SMU is like kind of in my
Mhm.
backyard. And those coaches have known me since I was little. And I went in there and just said, look, like, I don't even know if I want to do this. I just need to have fun. I need you guys to kind of like help me piece myself back together. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm not competing at nationals. I'm not doing any of those things. And they're like, that's cool. They're like, practices tomorrow at 4. We'll see you. I mean, they were just like, we don't care. Just show up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
day by day, I think I found like the joy in that sport again. And a big lesson to me was like, we talk about this in real estate. It's like, I think I was getting stuck in the end result and like, if I'll be happy when I get this. And it's just like, it's not how it works. It's just not how
Yeah.
it works. Um,
Yeah.
so I knew I needed to make adjustments when I went back to school. In the last 2 years I had at Michigan were my favorite. I grew a lot. And I realized like my life was a bit out of whack. Like I was defining myself as a swimmer, which I never did. I'm Kim first and I'm a swimmer second. And so
Yeah.
like, I just needed to find more of like an even balanced life on campus. So I got really involved in some other organizations, branched out of my swimming world. Some of my best friends are, athletes there, but like different teams. And so we had something in common, but not the day to day, like all the ins and outs of your team.
Sure. Practice and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything. It's like when you're trying to, when you make connections with people, it's like they don't need to be exactly like you, but
Right.
coming at it with the same value and the same understanding, like it just immediately gives you this like tight bond. So anyway, so it was great. And then like, so at the end of college for me, I was actually given an award that I had no idea was coming my way. And it was, I mean, I think that's kind of says it all. Like I probably cherish that award more than anything that I accomplished. And it's the Big Ten Medal of Honor, and they give one senior female and one senior male of all the athletes that award. And I got that, and I had to like speak to all the athletes, and I was like, what is happening? But I
That's so
remember,
awesome.
I mean, I thank you. It was based on like your academics and your athletics, and then also your service. And once I figured out that tripod for me, like when I went back my junior year, everything changed. Like it
Yeah.
just all started to click, and it was coming from such a true place that I think I finally was being me and not being like this athlete who I'm trying to be.
Sure.
So but I did talk I had to give a little speech. And I just said like, and it still rings true today. It's like, we all have gifts, right? We all have gifts, and you just have to figure out how to be present enough to share them with the people around you. It's easy for us to all get like, whoop, this is
Yeah.
my world and this is what I'm doing. But I just think so much comes out of when you can like kind of open up a little bit and give that away.
Yeah. And go back to finding the fun in it, right?
Oh my God.
I
Absolutely.
think that was probably the biggest thing. And yeah, you had and I'm sure it's for every top performer, whether it's business, life, whatever it is, sports, you always want to achieve the highest peak, right? The
Yeah.
Olympics would have probably been the highest peak for every athlete, right? And you got that taste of it though, right?
Yeah.
Even though the result wasn't there, you got the taste of it. And I'm always one that I want to be in rooms and around people that are thinking bigger than me, that are
Yeah.
thinking differently than me, and that are doing way more than me. And I want to, yeah, I may never get there, but just getting the taste of being in those rooms
Yeah, for sure.
has a huge, and I'm sure that has a huge impact on your life, right? Like,
Totally.
like, hey, in the beginning growing up, I'm the person that you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to go do it. Well, now here's this event where you went and did it, but you didn't have the results, right? So now
Mhm.
probably moving forward, and we may get into it. I don't know your story, but I'm sure going through that and not having the results, some people would call it failing, right? Like in the book, I don't know if it was The Power of Moments or what we've read recently, but they talk about stretching, right? We have to
Mhm.
stretch ourselves to fail,
Yeah.
right? In order to get outside of our comfort zones. And you got outside of your comfort zone and you didn't have the results, but now in the future, looking back on it, now that you're healed and you're
Yeah.
able to talk about it freely, like I'm sure there's not much that comes your way that you're really going to dwell on it like you may have done then, but because you went through that experience, everything else on the other side will be better.
Yeah. I mean, it's for sure. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like life, like you can think that it's stepping stones, like you're going forward, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of times it's like these lily pads. Like it's not even like a forward jump; it's like a lateral side move, and you can learn from all of them. But I do fundamentally the the hardest moments, and I know this is like cliche, but I read all these business books about it. People who I'm sort of attracted to in terms of their business and
Yeah.
what they're teaching us. It's like the gold is in all that adversity, and so to miss the lesson there is like the biggest mistake,
Right.
I mean, that's like the biggest mistake. And so, I mean, this would be a whole other podcast, me talking about adversity, especially in my collegiate experience. But I will tell you, when I got to my first job, I worked for a huge ad agency in downtown Chicago, and when I got there, I walked in like I can handle this because I handled a lot of crap in college that these people have not gone through. Not to minimize what they've done, but like they
Sure.
haven't had that experience, and I'm going to be okay. Like I'm going to know how to handle it. I'm going to know how to like get through tough things, and hopefully have fun with the people that I'm working with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting how I don't think any of it's accidental. I just think I some of my dearest friends from college are Olympians and gold medalists, and let me tell you, their life wasn't perfect either. It's
Yeah.
like I think we sort of think it's going to be one thing, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
cherish those years were pretty incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I found I think it was a video on YouTube early on in my career, and it was Kobe Bryant doing an interview. And this may play into, after that event and then going back to your junior, senior year of finding the love for swimming again. But I talk to agents about this all the time too on a real estate. And I found this video of Kobe, and I'm going to butcher it, but essentially he said, the reason why there's more talented players in the NBA than me. There's people that can be all-time greats, but they only want to focus on the games. They don't want to focus on the practice. And what Kobe said is you have to fall in love with the process. And if you can fall in love with the process, the game is just the reward,
Yeah.
right? That's just like the cake at the end. Like to him, it wasn't even about the games. It was about shooting 1,000 free throws, going to the gym at 6 a.m. every single day. It's about the love of the process of doing those tedious things. And when I saw that video, like for me in real estate, it was like, man, I have to fall in love with the process of building real estate business, meaning the grind of reaching out to clients. For me, it was internet leads, right? It's, am I doing the things to attract people to me?
Yeah.
And if you don't love that, then you're not going to love the rest.
Well, I mean, I totally agree. I've seen that Kobe. I mean, yeah, RIP. He was a good one. Lost
Yeah.
him soon, but I it's funny. I my college coach had this phrase. Well, he had two. He's like, "The hay is in the barn." He had a southern accent. I know we were in Michigan, but he has a southern accent. And he was like, "The hay is in the barn, ladies. The hay's in the barn." And we were like, "What is he talking about?" But basically, when we got to championship season, he's like, "The work is done. Like,
Yeah.
so now, like, you need to chill out and you need to just go compete because the
Go
work is
do.
already done, right?"
Yeah.
The other thing he would say to us all the time is he's like, girls, it's the process, not the product. It's the
Yep.
process, not the product.
Yep.
And I laugh because I feel like right now that is like a mantra that a lot of people are talking about. And it could not be more true to what I chose to do for my career. I mean, it's like a sport like swimming. It's a lot of delayed gratification, right? Like you're putting in all the hours, you're in this grind. It's like a morning workout, it's an afternoon workout, you're lifting after your afternoon workout, lather, rinse, repeat. Like you do it every day for 9 months, and then you go have your big meet and you hope you drop time, but you don't always drop time, and that's a long
Right.
time to wait for a result.
Yeah.
So I think you do have to find some sort of joy in that, or else you would not keep doing it, you know? And so, and I think it's a very individual sport, but I think it's also, and I'm back on deck now and I'm helping some high school girls. And so much of it is like rally around the girls around you. You know,
Yeah.
like some days you're going to feel on and you're going to feel incredible.